Good day, students. I welcome you all to another class. And I hope the previous class was impactful. And I hope you are enjoying every bit of the online class so far. So today we are going to be looking at Rebus Stantibus. So it's a Latin word, Rebus Stantibus in property rating. So as a way of introduction, property rating is a special branch of valuation used for basically taxation purposes. And unlike other forms of valuation, such as investment valuation, mortgage valuation, insurance valuation, rating is carried out under a strict legal principles. I said it in class that is statutory in a way. So it has is carried out under a strict legal principles, basically just to ensure that there is uniformity, there is fairness, there is certainty. And one of the important guiding doctrine, is this Latin word, Rainbow Six Stantibus, which literally means things stand does. Things stand does, or it can also mean as things stand, or as it is, or as it is. So it's a Latin word that means was things stand thus, or as things stand. So in simple words, a property must be valued in the actual physical state. A property must be valued in the what actual physical state and occupation in which it exists at a particular date of valuation, without assuming any change in use, without alteration, without redevelopment, without any possibility speculations that, okay, we were thinking it will be used in this form. We're thinking the owner had in mind to use this for this. No, it is whatever what you see as at the date of your valuation that should be examined and should be valued. In a situation whereby probably the owner has it in mind to make a conversion, the conversion should have been done even before you examine such a property. So since the conversion is not done, whatever you see as the property stand, the condition of the state of the property at the date of your inspection should be assessed. So this doctrine is what protects the property owner from being rated even beyond their actual occupation, while still ensuring that the local authority have a consistent basis of valuation. So whatever you see as it is, as it stands, that is what the Rainbow Six Stantibus stands for. So, and also let's look briefly into the meaning and the interpretation. So I said earlier that Rainbow Six Stantibus is interpreted in property rating to mean that a hereditament must be valued in its existing physical state, considering the use, considering the occupation, and as at the date of valuation, not in some other forms like you are being hypothetical. No. So in simple terms, a church building must be valued as what? As a church. A mosque must be valued as what? A mosque. A shop must be valued as what? As a shop. A petrol station must be valued as what? petrol station and not an hotel. And also a residential flat must be valued as what? Residential accommodation. Even if the area is commercially viable, but for the fact that this property is situated where in a commercial environment, and what you are seeing is what is a residential property, please, it should be valued as what? A residential accommodation. A residential accommodation, just for emphasis sake. And then we have some historical developments. We know that we don't just come by like, okay, where is this coming from? Everything has historical background. So how does this Rebus Stantibus evolve? How what has been the history so far? So this doctrine basically, or this principle, was shared by the English common law. Is originated from the English common law, which has influenced the Nigerian property law in a way. So there are some landmark cases that we can see, and then we can trace this Rebus Stantibus to. For example, the popular assessment committee versus Rebus in 1922. So they established that a property should be accessed based on what its current use and condition. Its current use and condition, which forms also the basis of what? Of our Rebus 6 Stantibus. And also the Hare versus School Board of London 1886, they confirms that a school must be valued as what? As a school. Even if the building could, serve as a private residential, no. But for the fact that it's a school as it is at its stand, it should be valued as what? As a school. Then the same thing with August versus Greenwich LBC 1969. The court also, in this case, emphasized that potential alternative use, it cannot be considered at all. It cannot be considered, especially in rating valuation. Yeah, it has an hypothetical use of this. It has potential to be used for this. It has you don't need that in rating. You don't need it. As it is, whatever you see, that is what you should what? That is what you should value. And in Nigeria, this principle was inherited through the colonial status, and then we've continued under that. In fact, under the state tenement rate and the local government rating practice, this is what we use. This is our underlying principles. This is our underlying principle that we've adopted. So let's look into some essential principles of Rebus 6 Stantibus. So when applying this doctrine, a valuer must critically recognize these principles. Number one, the physical characteristics. Putting into consideration the size, the shape, the design, the quality, if possible, the age, if possible, the condition, and most especially the location. So under this, for example, we can say that probably a dilapidated building in Ibadan, it must be valued as its current state. When something is dilapidated, it must be stated that this building is what is dilapidated, not as if it has been renovated. No, they should have called you after the renovation, but since you were not called, as it is, it should be stated that, oh, this building is what is dilapidated. The physical condition must be what? Must be stated what? Expressly. Then another principle is the actual use and occupation. I know we've considered what occupation with in the previous classes. So the occupation, the mode of occupation is defined basically by the basis of our valuation. Is defined by what? By the basis of our valuation. For example, a building that is used for hospital cannot be rated as an office. No, it cannot, because at that time, the use is what? The use is for hospital. And then we can't see it as, oh, this looks like an office complex. No, you need to even go inside to ascertain what kind of operation is going on there, rather, for you to be able to tell us, oh, this is what is used for. Oh, and even in terms of the occupation, oh, is it owner occupation or tenant occupation? You don't examine from afar. You need to what? Visit it, ask questions in order for you to what? In order for you to be properly what? Properly guided. Properly guided. Then another essential principle is ignoring hypothetical uses. I said it earlier. Ignore whatever the person wants to use it for. Ignore it. If it is a purpose-built commercial property, don't let it be like, I think it's looking like a block of flats. No, no, don't make any assumption. No assumption about maybe conversion, about modernizing it, about redevelopment, unless it has already been carried out. Then you can now, okay, there has been some alteration, some conversion and that. But if not, don't ignore every other potential uses. Please, in terms of rating, ignore it. For example, probably a bungalow cannot be rated as what? As a four-story building, because of maybe development potential, like probably it's just a bungalow with a decking on top. Oh, it has capacity of having more floors. No, you don't propose in rating. You don't. Whatever you see, it is what you are going to value. And also we have legal and statutory restrictions. Very important, because we know we have parts that are zoned. There are some planning permission, there are some lease agreement, there are some restrictive covenants that binds valuers in a way. So we mustn't be, we must have a knowledge about that. For example, probably a residential house in a residentially zoned area cannot be valued as a commercial hotel. No, because the area I'm going is what is a residential, and it should be treated what it should be treated like that. Then another essential principle is the contrast with highest and best use. Please let us be guided. Let us be guided. Rebus Stantibus is not the same thing as what highest and best use. Highest and best use. Highest and best use is a general valuation principle, and it considered the most profitable use of a land or property, even if it requires changing the use, maybe for redevelopment, but a rainbow six Stantibus is rating principle, while highest and best use is what? General valuation principles. So rainbow six Stantibus was considered only the actual state and use as at the date of what? As at the date of valuation. As at the date of valuation. So both of them, they are not what? They are not the same thing at all. They are not the same thing. And we have a comparison here. We have a comparison here. So in terms of basis of value, they are not the same thing. For rainbow six Stantibus, we have the actual state under the base of value, actual state, and then occupation. Then for highest and best use, we can then be talking about potential. We can then be talking about the optimum use. In terms of time references, for Rebus Stantibus is as the date of what? Valuation. But for highest and best, you can still be futuristic. You can still be saying, oh, that's potential. You can still be hypothetical, even in your dealings. And in terms of application, for Rebus Stantibus, we have is basically for what? Rating valuation only. Rating valuation only. But for highest and best use, then you can be saying, okay, in terms of investments, because you want the investors to have higher return in terms of visibility, in terms of acquisition. So you can be talking about, okay, highest and best use. And example for under Rainbow Six Stantibus is a warehouse is a warehouse. A residential apartment is a residential apartment. A shop is a shop. A mall is a mall. But in terms of highest and best, you can be saying, oh, we have a warehouse, but conversion can be made for maybe shopping mall sites. Shopping mall sites. So there's a big difference between the both of them. Big difference between the both of them. So then we have some application in the Nigerian context. We have some application in the Nigerian context because many property have redeveloped potential, but must be valued as what as it is. We are not thinking of the potential anymore. For example, in Lagos, in Abuja, in Port Harcourt, we can have a bungalow in Ikoyi. It must be valued as what? As a residential. Even though it could become a commercial plaza. Even though it could become a commercial plaza, but as at the day you inspected it, what did you see? What did you see? What did you see? And also in our rural areas, and then we are some semi-urban areas also. Agricultural land, basically, they are used for what? They are used for farming, and it should be valued as what? As such, and not what? Probably a residential estate. No, let it be put for residential estate first before you can now say, okay, this is residential. Don't be hypothetical in your decision. Then we have some special properties also, such as schools, churches, mosques, hospital, petrol station. It should be valued as what? Value as the actual use. Value as what? As the actual use. No what? No assumption should be made. No assumption should be made. And then, so why are we even doing this? Why the Rainbow Six Stantibus? Why are we doing it? Now, so this leads us to the advantages of Rainbow Six Stantibus. So the first one is the fairness to the payer. In order to avoid any form of speculative overvaluation, then we can now be thinking of, oh, you don't need to hype this person high. This person does not need it. Don't take the person to the stage where the person has not belonged to. No, if you want to be fair, then it shows that the way it is the way you should you should value it. And also for legal certainty also, decisions are based on what? They are based on observable facts. They will ask you, what did you see? What did you notice? Because I know in some valuations, especially in probably plant and machinery valuations, they will tell you that, oh, we have some machines off site, or some motor vehicles are not available now, but they will arrive later. No, you don't take the account of the one that is going to arrive later. You don't take the account at all. The only one you need to take account for is the one you are seeing on site. When you know that they are coming, why don't they bring out their cars even before you come? Why don't they bring it before you come? So the only thing you need to take cognizance of is what you are seeing on site, and not what they are bringing in. No, not what they are bringing in. And another advantage is for uniformity. Just that to ensure that similar properties in similar state are valued equally. They are valued equally. Don't hype anyone. Don't hype any property. Don't be hypothetical. Don't make any assumption at all. Then also for another advantage is for administrative simplicity. So no, as I said earlier, because there wouldn't be any room for any complex assumption. It's not expected and it's not required. Is a principle that should be followed strictly. That should be followed strictly. So when this has been said, we have some limitations. We have some limitations to the implementation of this Rainbow Six Stantibus. The first one is the undervalued properties in the rapid changing market. They may want to undervalue some properties in the rapid changing market, because you know that when you're in a rapid changing market, it is expected as, oh, this property should command this so amount of money, or so income, or so rent. No, you don't project for such a person. You don't project for such a person. In the case of you trying to make some assumption, before you know it, you can even undervalue such a property. You can undervalue such a property. And another limitation is it does not encourage optimum land use or redevelopment. Yes, it does not. Optimum land use it does not. For a redevelopment, land use, it does not at all. Rainbow System doesn't give room for that. And sometimes it's difficult to apply. It's difficult to apply in a situation whereby you have a mixed use existence. It's difficult in a situation whereby you have a residential and probably you have some block of shops in front. Block of shops in front. This principle will not will negate it, will not be applicable, because in such a way, how do you tend to be like, okay, this is a residential residential, but thank God for the concept of mixed use. Then it can now be seen like, okay, this is a mixed use property. Residential while still has an attachment of what, of shops. And so we can say that in Nigeria, informality like illegal conversion, mixed occupation, they complicate the application. They complicate it. Series of illegal conversion complicates the application of Rainbow Six Stantibus. Rainbow Six Stantibus. So let's briefly look into the practicability in Nigerian context. Let's look at it. So, for example, and a warehouse in Apapa, should be valued as what? Should be valued as a warehouse, despite the fact that it has commercial potential as maybe for office. No, but it must be valued as what? Must be valued as warehouse. The same thing a petrol station in Kaduna. Even if the land could have what, maybe shopping complex, probably at the back or within the vicinity, the law requires what? Rating, you rate it as what? As petrol station. You rate it as petrol station. And also church in Kaduna, because it's a religion building, is not a potential residential flat. It should be treated as what? As a church. It should be treated as a church. And also, university hostel, probably in Onzuka, should be valued as what? Hostel accommodation, and not a what? And not a probably as private luxurious flats. No, it shouldn't. No, it shouldn't. Let's be very careful with this. So we have some importance of this Rainbow System to students and also professionals. So why we've seen the need for this. We've seen the need for this, and then another thing is we are getting to know this so as to protect the property owner from excessive taxation. When you hype the person, when we are being futuristic for the person, at the end of the day, the person will tend to pay more. The person will tend to pay more. So if the person is paying more for what you have not seen on site, is it fair on that person? It's not fair. It's not fair. And also, it helps valuer to remain objective. Yes, to be factual. This is what I see. In fact, with evidence of pictures, this is what I see. This is the way it is. This is the way it's being coordinated. So it helps valuers to remain what? To remain objective. And also, even for our rating valuation, it helps us to have a standardized what? Approach. It helps us to have a standardized approach, while it also what? Ensure uniformity. It ensures uniformity when everybody across local government parastatals embrace this doctrine. It helps in uniformity in government rating exercise. Basically, it helps. Is as simple as reimbursing Stantibus is also very what germane. It's also very what important. It's also very important. So when they are telling you probably in a you are kind of a good for stock valuation, and they are telling you that, oh, some of my goods are still coming, but I have the list here. No, you don't collect the list. Why don't you say, okay, when the goods arrive, then you call me? it is what you see on site that you give account to. That is what this doctrine is telling us, and that is what we should imbibe. That is what we should imbibe. So, in conclusion, we can say that the doctrine of Rainbow Six Stantibus remain was a cornerstone of rating valuation law in Nigeria, and even in other Commonwealth countries also. The same thing is applicable, because it emphasizes that property must be what valued strictly as they stand, taking into consideration their current physical state and mode of occupation. Because why this helps to ensure what fairness, it helps to ensure fairness and consistency. And it sometimes clashes with the dynamic reality of urban development and modern land economics. But nevertheless, it remains an essential principle, either we like it or not, that every valuer, every student must embrace. Every student of rating, we must what? We must master it, and it should be what? It should be part of us. It should be part of it. Anytime you're on the field, what should come to your mind is Rainbow Six was Stantibus. I am valuing whatever I see on site. If don't get to a state of being bribed to add some things in order to get value. No, ensure you what? Ensure you value what you see on site. Ensure you assess what you have on site. So I also have some questions here. You answering these questions in a way will test your understanding about the course on this lecture on the Rainbow Six Tantables, to give you like just a guiding a guidance, like, oh, do I even understand what they are saying? So with this question, is something you can just sit and then answer on your own, and then beyond this, if you have any question, please don't hesitate to drop it in the comment section, so that I can respond also. So thanks for listening. I appreciate you. So we are going to see in our physical class next week by God's grace. So do enjoy the rest of your day. Have a wonderful week. Bye.